I'm Shireen with Olive Street Designs, and we're going to make over this large oak 3-piece set. It's in pretty good condition. Of course, water spots and really ugly, janky hardware, but we're going to fix all that. So these are heavy. Thank goodness I have these dollies because, wow, they just make your life so much easier. I couldn't do this without them, but everything goes on wheels because I've got to move them around in my garage and all over the place. And there's a lot of hardware to take off. And I have to use a flathead screwdriver, which is not my favorite because there's a lot of hardware. It's old, it needs to go. And then the drawer liners, which normally I struggle with, but these are awesome. They're like fabric on the back and plastic on the front. If only they were all this easy because the drawers are pristine underneath. They're just beautiful. So let's give this a good cleaning. I get a lot of questions as to why do I clean it if I'm about to sand it all. It's because years of grime and dirt and polish and wax and who knows what, and I'd rather just clean it and then get started. So because I don't have a lot of damage to deal with, I'm going to be doing more sanding in the areas that had some of the water damage, but overall it's going to be a lot of scuff sanding. And I do concentrate on those areas where the finish might be failing a bit, otherwise it's mostly scuffing. And I scuff sand so that it gives some bite to the primer and the paint. I switched to the Surfprep sander with the interface pad on it to get all the curved areas, which are on the edges of all the drawers. And then I'm going to deal with this base. So the base is great. I love it, but there was just a little part there that I felt dated it. So I kind of outlined it on a Sharpie. I put some tape on it, and now I've got my jigsaw. And I'm just going to cut that part off. This is solid oak. Oak is a very hard wood, so this is taking some effort. It's a very thick base, so sometimes I can zip these right off of here, and this one's taking a little muscle and some time. But once I got that piece off of there, I really like the look of it. So I did the base on the dresser, and then both of the nightstands got the same treatment. And now I'm going to go ahead and just sand those areas that I cut to make sure they're smooth. And now the fun begins. I'm going to strip these bases, which is going to take some serious time because of all the curves and different things. But I did as much as I could with the sander, and now I'm going to take these contour sanding pads, which are awesome. If you don't have some, you need them. They come in every size, so you can get in every different type of groove. I find one that fits the area that I need to hand sand, and I'm gonna wrap a piece of sandpaper or a sanding net around it and go to work. I mean, this is still work. Gotta put some muscle into it, especially with a hard wood like this. But without these, it really can kill your hands. And after what seemed like forever, the bases are stripped. Okay, I mixed up some Bondo and just filling in all of the hardware holes. I'm completely changing the hardware, so I had to fill them all in. Thankfully, the top drawers already had a single knob, which is what I'm going to keep. Everything's just got to sit and harden, and once that happens, now just sanding it all smooth. There's a lot of drawers on this dresser. And then, of course, the same treatment on the base for the nightstands, and it requires a lot of hard work and sandpaper. It's like a sandpaper graveyard. There's this one little ledge on the base that gets me every time. It's like I just cannot hand sand that for the life of me. So I got the Dremel out, and it had a little sandpaper wheel on it, which was great. And then just right in the crease there with hand sanding, and it was beautiful. So everything is stripped. Yay. I went through 1,000 pieces of sandpaper. I normally stain after I paint, but with these, I'm going to stain first. So I did wet everything. This is a water-based stain, so I sprayed water on it first just to help my stain go on smoothly. You can use wood conditioner, or in this case, I just used water because of my water-based stain. This color is dark oak. And, you know, once you get it wet, it just kind of glides right on. So everything goes on nice and even. You can see that I'm actually putting it on and I'm not wiping it back because I want this dark, deep, rich color, and it just is on there nice and even. I'm not going to wipe it back. And you can still see that wood grain. It's just beautiful. Okay, while that stain is drying, I'm going to go ahead and drill my new holes for the hardware. So I'm just trying to figure out placement. I set them on there, stand back for a second, look at it, adjust it, and then once I get it where I want it, I'm going to set up my hardware jig. This is going to save me so much time because 6 of these drawers are all the same. And again, hardwood, so these holes are a bit difficult to drill, but all I do is drill one side. I'm going to flip the jig over and then keep on going. Makes quick work of hardware holes. Same thing on the nightstands. It's going to just get one pull in the center, and the top drawer had a knob. Okay, now that the stain is all nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do several coats of top coat. So this is the first one. The first one always goes on and it just soaks everything up. And then as the second and third coat go on, they just go on nice and smooth. I do lightly sand in between each coat. And then after that actually dried overnight, I'm going to go ahead with taping everything off very carefully. I do not want any paint on my lovely stained base. Into the spray tent we go. I do this first thing in the morning so that it doesn't get too hot during the day. And it's prime time. The transformation is beginning. I use Sticks primer, and I have it tinted at the paint store, so it's a gray color. But I love it for its adhesion and coverage. It's just a really good primer. Once the primer sets and hardens, I go in and sand everything. I have a sanding sponge. It's really helpful with the drawers, especially with any curved areas, because I don't want to take the primer off. I just want to smooth it out. And I'm using one of my favorite paints, Farmhouse Evolution, in the color Bhold Black. I added a little water, stir it up, add it to my sprayer, and we are ready to go. Bhold Black is exactly what it says. This is a deep, dark black color. I love it. There's a lot of curved drawers. There's the detail across the front, so I'm taking my time to make sure I get solid coverage on this one. I'm using a Wagner Flexio 5000 sprayer. It's been one of the greatest investments I ever made. It's not a terribly expensive sprayer. I've been using it for the last couple of years, daily, and it's great. I took out all the drawers because these drawers sit on top of the cabinet, so I have to go in and just paint the little bit that the drawer covers. I did 2 coats of paint and 2 coats of top coat. And now for the reveal of the base. And this is where you cross your fingers and say, please, no paint. Everything just came off perfectly, and I did not get any paint on my lovely stained base. And I'm loving the 2 colors, the contrast of this deep, rich stain color against the bold black. Just beautiful. Time to install the new hardware. And again, I did an oval knob and these modern poles. A quick look back at where we started, and this is where we are.